Welcome to another episode of Healthy Cooking with me, Chef Keith. This is a show where I will show you how to make healthy meals in the comfort of your very own kitchen. But before I go any further, let me thank our sponsors who've made this show possible, and they are WGLRO.com, Meet My Types Matchmaking, Urban Grandstand Digital, Scott's Cares Foundation, Blends to Blends Juice Bar Boutique, Renovations, and New Covenant of Praise Worship Center. Welcome again, family. We've got a very tasty episode for you today with Healthy Cooking with Chef Keith. Today, we're going to make a little something different. And it's going to be, a lot of people like po' boy sandwiches, which is a New Orleans thing. And I am going to make a variation of that. And I'm going to make shrimp po' boy tortilla bowls. Alright? Tortilla bowls. And I got whole wheat tortilla bowls, and I also have regular tortilla bowls. But I am going to make a variation here. So as I'm getting started, before I really get going, I'm actually going to make my sauce, my own version of remoulade sauce. Alright, so I just used one lemon, so I'm going to use the juice of one lemon here. Juice of one lemon. Alright. And I'm going to use some olive oil mayo. It's a nice little tasty something. Okay, so I'm going to use about a cup here. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to take a couple tablespoons of Dijon mustard here. Okay, and I have a tablespoon of paprika right there. I'm going to use, let's add about a tablespoon of garlic in here. That's with the lemon juice. Well, you know what, why not? Let's go with 2 in there. And the reason I'm making my sauce first is because this allows me to chill the sauce. We got a teaspoon of pepper, teaspoon of salt. Alright, and I'm just going to go ahead and mix everything up here. I'm going to use a teaspoon of cayenne pepper, just a sprinkle here, and I'm just going to get that turned around. Now this will be the basis for our sauce here. Okay, and that's really all we have to do with that. At this point, some people would like to add a little hot sauce or something like that up at this point. But that's really up to you whether or not you use this. So I'm going to take this sauce, alright, nice and easy, and I'm going to go ahead and put this in the refrigerator until we are ready to serve. So what I have here is my shrimp. Now these are the shrimp that come in about 13 to 15 a pound. That's the count. These are pretty large shrimp at that. All right, so I usually keep the shells because my turtles like to eat the shells. My turtles are very spoiled. I don't know what I've read actually online and things like what turtles are supposed to like and what they, you know, what's supposed to be their main diet, which is like green leafy vegetables like spinach and lettuce. My turtles will not eat any of that stuff. They only eat fresh fruits and vegetables and, you know, fish. They eat salmon and all kind of stuff. They're spoiled. Like every small being in this house, and that is including the kids. Alright, so what I'm doing here is I'm just going to go ahead and take the shells off here. I'm preparing this meal for 6. This is actually 1.5 pounds of the shrimp, so just nice and easy. Open it up, pull on the tail, comes right off. I think everybody, maybe not just me, but I kind of got this down to a science at this point. You know, I can go through some shrimp very quickly. These are not frozen when I got them, so I didn't have to thaw them out, even though I did wash them and clean them. But you know, these kind actually come semi-clean, but I washed them again just to be sure. Okay, so I finished peeling all my shrimp here, and I got a little bit of liquid or water in there. I'm not gonna let it bother me for the most part. So what I'm gonna do here, I'm just gonna add some garlic powder. I'm gonna use some black pepper. Okay, I'm gonna use some cumin. I'm gonna use about a tablespoon and a half of all of that. So here's the cumin. I like to use cumin. I'm going to also use some paprika. I'm going to use some cayenne pepper, and all in the same portion here. Just going to go across on the top here. And I'm going to use a little onion powder as well. And I'm just going to use just a little salt. I'm not going to use as much salt as the other two. So they'll just probably get a tablespoon. So I'm just going to go ahead and stir the mixture up here. Alright. So we're going to get everything nice and coated. Have a great smell going on here. You see that? So that's what we're looking for. We're getting that color. I'm going to get everything nice and coated. And just turn it on. We want to get the seasoning on all the shrimp here. And if you're wondering what that weird sound is in the back, I went ahead and gave those shrimp shells to my turtles, and they're in there having a fantastic dinner experience right now. So there's our shrimp. Okay, so that is a tablespoon and a half of everything except for the salt. We just did 1 tablespoon of the salt. So there we go with that. So from here, just going to move that out the way. I'm actually going to use 1 cup of buttermilk. 1 cup of buttermilk here, because in all our traditional po' boy dishes, buttermilk is used, so we're not going to stray away from that too much. So there's 1 cup of buttermilk, which is good to have. Can't wait to put together some more recipes with the buttermilk. Okay, so there we go. Got all our shrimp in the buttermilk there. Nice and simple, easy, and it smells amazing. Our oil is getting ready. I got my olive oil ready to go on the stove. So while I have my shrimp marinated in the buttermilk mixture with all the seasonings that we had, I'm going to start preparing my tortilla bowls. Now, traditionally they use some sort of pickle to go with the po' boy sandwiches, but for me, what I'm going to do is, since everybody knows that pickles come from cucumbers, I'm actually going to use thinly sliced cucumbers in place of the pickles. Now, of course, this will be another tasty alternative, but at the same time, you know, my youngest is not a big fan of pickles, so I'm sure he would go freak out at this point if he's seen that there were pickles on there. He'd probably be trying to pick through it. I have a better chance of actually getting him to eat cucumbers, believe it or not. So I'm going to go ahead, and cucumbers are so tasty. I remember growing up, I used to like to have vinegar and salt on my cucumbers. Just like so, okay? And we're just going to make little stacks like this, like poker chips. That will give us a great idea of how many portions we're going to have. So I'm looking at least, let's see here, we're looking at about 12 tortilla bowls. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So just a couple more here. There's a stack, and just gonna make one more stack here. So this comes out perfect. I can actually make one extra stack here, and there we go. Here, I actually want to bring out our stem tomatoes, because we are going to add tomatoes to this, of course. And with this particular dish, I was interested in making the dish look as colorful as possible. So we're just going to add some color to it here, and the tomatoes will provide that. So we're going to match up the tomatoes. These are stem tomatoes. We're going to match these up with the cucumbers. We're going to make small slices of the tomato as well. So see that? Nice and easy. And just going to go ahead and cut that there. So we're coming up with slices. So we got 5 there. I probably can make one more out of that. Take the top off here. Nice simple cut. We're just gonna make thin slices, thin cuts here. Alright, so just gonna work it out here, and maybe I'm making these slices in a way for presentation purposes, but we all know that we eat with our eyes first instead of actually tasting things. So the tastier you can make something look, the easier it is to get people to eat it. Now, when I'm dealing with young people, my kids can be, well, some of them are picky, some aren't, but it's kind of hard to basically satisfy so many different palates, as everybody has a unique taste and feel what they like. So trying to make everybody happy is not the easiest task to do. Alright, and so I decided this is something that is not on a traditional po' boy. Alright, this here is a yellow pepper. Of course, many of you know that by looking at it. Yellow peppers aren't hot, at least not to me. They're actually very sweet. They almost have a fruity texture to them. fruity taste rather, and texture. And so with the yellow peppers, I figured that it might be a nice little touch. It's not going to be too hot. Help mellow out everything here. And I'm actually just going to take thin slices. You see that? Thin slice ring here. And I'm just going to take thin slices of the yellow pepper. Not too thick here. Alright, so it won't be necessarily overwhelming because remember, I've got a very picky 10-year-old who likes to eat regular hot dogs, corn dogs, hamburgers, chicken wings, the regular stuff. So getting him to try new things is not always easy. I did get him to eat an olive once, so that went okay. So we're just going to make a little assembly line here. Get everything nice and ready. So I have these little tortilla bowls. They come made like this. Now they're not big. As you can see, here's the size of it in my hand. They're just tortilla shells, and they make them like bowls, so now they can hold food in there. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to go ahead and now I got half of the family is asking for the regular, and I have the whole wheat as well. Now my kids are too old for me to sneak them into eating whole wheat, and they wouldn't know the difference, so I don't even try. I much rather ask. But here, as you can see, we have our tortilla bowls here. Alright, so I'm just going to make a nice little display. Alright, so we're just going to go around like so. So we're just going to add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Alright, we're just going around the 8, and we're just going to have a couple apiece. So I'm just going to add one more here, one more here, and there we go. Alright, and what that means is just going to add one, two in the middle. You see that? Now check that out. That's nice and neat, right? And like I said, I'm preparing this for 6. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to start off here, and first I'm going to start with our cucumbers, and I'm just going to add a couple cucumber stacks here, and I'm just going to start off by adding 2 to each shell here, 2 to each shell right on the corner. This is a pretty thick one, so I'm just going to add 2 here. Just keep going around the horn per se. I'm actually going to add a tomato slice in between each one. So we're going to take our tomato slice, we're going to cover it up just like that, add it right in between. You can kind of see the arc coming together here. Okay, so I just went ahead and zoomed everything down. When I say zoom, I mean with the camera. And so what I'm going to do from here is I'm going to go ahead and add, like I said, we actually did this for the color, so we can make this a little bit as pretty as possible. Alright, so I'm just going to go ahead and slip that behind there like that. So I'm just going to go ahead and take that yellow pepper, And go ahead and slip that behind. You see that? So now we got that yellow pepper in there ready to go. Now from here, just going to go ahead and take our spinach. I'm going to take some fresh spinach and put it right in the tortilla bowl, just like that. So we got our bowl here. We're rounding third and heading for home. Once we have our and are not making a mess. Okay. Rounded third, heading for home. Right now, I'm just going to take a cup of yellow cornmeal. I'm going to take another cup of flour. Okay. I probably just need a little more of this cornmeal here. Alright. And right now here we're ready to make the magic happen. So I got my shrimp out here, and it's been marinating in its own way, and all the spices that we put in here. Okay, and so I have my cornmeal and flour. So all I'm going to do at this point, because it's pretty straightforward, is So all I'm going to do at this point, because I have my shrimp ready to go. At this point, I'm just going to start taking a few of those shrimp, and I'm going to take them in pairs here. So that way I know I get my portions correct. So I'm going just take the excess buttermilk off there. So I'm just going to start off with 8. And so here we go. Alright, so I'm just going to start off with 8, and I'm just going to toss them around. And this is our flour and our cornmeal. Just going to give them a nice coat, and they'll be ready to go. Okay. Now, while I was preparing my vegetables, and I was still marinating the shrimp, I actually took it upon myself to chop up some sweet potatoes. So I'm making some sweet potato fries over here. It's just really, this is just simple. This is oil, sweet potatoes. We're going to cook them for about 10 to 15 minutes until they're nice and crispy. And we're just going to hit them with a little sea salt, and those will be good to go. Here, I'm just going to go ahead and knock off my excess cornmeal and flour. And I'm just going to take my shrimp. Should be nice and seasoned. I'm just going to go ahead and lay that into my oil here. And all we're going to do is about 2 or 3 minutes. 2 or 3 minutes per side. Should be all it would take. And all we're looking for at this point is a crispy brown, well, crispy golden color here. Give a nice little crunch. And while these are cooking, I'm going to go ahead and finish up marinating not marinating, but actually going ahead and tossing the rest of my shrimp in our flour and cornmeal mixture. So like I said, we're just going to do 2 to 3 minutes per side on the shrimp here, and to make sure that it's nice and crispy on the outside. And of course, we definitely want it to be done But because we have the coating on it, we can't see the color change as much as we want to. So we're looking for the crispy outside, which will give us a pretty good indicator because our grease is nice and hot. Well, not grease, but our oil. So all I'm going to do now is go ahead and flip everything over. We have go ahead and got our 3 minutes. Let's see, go ahead and look at that. Nice and crispy. Okay, so we're just going to do an additional 2 minutes or so on this side. It should be good to go. And of course we have our sweet potato fries. And they'll be ready as well because we started these a little bit early, so those will be good to go. Now it's time to plate when everything is ready. So in order to plate, all we're going to do is go ahead and take our shrimp and place it right into the basket like so. Nice and hot. And I'm just going to take a little of our caramelized sauce and just drizzle it over the top. Nice and easy to do, simple and tasty. Now, what do you think? Wasn't that simple? And once you try it, you'll find out just how tasty it will be. But before I let you go, I would just like to thank our sponsors who made this show possible once again. And they are WGLRO.com, Scott's Cares Foundation, Urban Grandstand, Digital, Meet My Types Matchmaking, Blend to Blend, Juice Bar Boutique, Renovations, and New Covenant Appraised Worship Center. Now, remember to join me again next week as I'll show you how to make a tasty, affordable, and gourmet style meal in the comfort of your very own kitchen. So just remember, easy, healthy, tasty, gourmet style cooking is as close to you as you are to your kitchen.